Hi! Today I want to show you how to make a U-turn Japan style. And no, it is not just a right-hand U-turn instead of a normal one. Unlike a normal 180 U-turn, which we make at pretty low speed on almost vertical bike, Japanese U-turn we make much faster and with a pretty steep lean angle. And like a lot of other weird Japanese things, the technique of this U-turn is also pretty weird. We will use really intense counter-steering and a lot of front brake mid-corner when also leaning a lot. But first of all, why this type of U-turn called Japanese and what's its purpose? Usually we make normal U-turn with only one goal in mind. We want to make a U-turn and hopefully not drop the bike, and that's it. Japan-style U-turn we make when we want to turn really quickly. It is used quite a lot in Japanese moto-gymkhana style of riding, which is why I call this U-turn a Japanese one. To learn how to do this U-turn, let's do three things. First, we'll have a quick recap of how we do a normal U-turn, to have a reference. Then, we'll see what we do differently with our new method. And at last, we'll learn how to practice this U-turn step by step. First of all, a normal U-turn. I already made a video about it, so if you need a detailed explanation, I'll link a video in the description. Here is just a quick recap. As we are approaching the U-turn, we are going at slow speed in the friction zone. Then we turn our head, gently apply counter-steering to lean the motorcycle, then release the pressure on handlebars and let them turn inside the turn. While turning, we use the clutch, throttle and rear brake to change our speed and turning radius if necessary. If we need to go tighter, we pull in the clutch a little and gently apply rear brake. If we need to go wider or make our bike stand up, we release the clutch and rear brake. We don't touch the front brake. This way we can make a U-turn as slow as we want, with our bike almost vertical. And it's a very universal way to make a U-turn. It works great for any bike you want. For 200cc bicycle and for 800 pounds behemoth, it really doesn't matter. With throttle, clutch and rear brake, we can U-turn any bike. But it's boring, we already did it 100 times on this channel. What if we want to do something more exciting? Here comes our Japanese U-turn. We want to turn faster, that means we need more speed, but the turning radius should still remain pretty compact. On faster speed, since we don't have a risk of stalling, we will not need any clutch to dial our speed, we'll use the throttle and brakes instead. With faster speed, we'll have to lean the bike more, so we'll have to use much more counter-steering. And we need to go at bigger lean angle. As we are approaching the turn, we turn our head, apply a good fast counter-steering, lean a lot and relax our arms letting the handlebars turn. Just like previously, we now need to drop some speed to reduce the turning radius. But now, instead of clutch, we use brakes. We drop speed at first part of a turn and release the brakes and open throttle as we see the exit from the turn. Here, by the way, another of my previous videos can come in handy, which explains how we can use throttle and brakes simultaneously to make transitions from braking to accelerating very smooth. At the end, our U-turn should look something like this. It should be really compact, but at the same time we should have a pretty big lean angle. The speed now is restricted only by our rubber and pavement quality and, of course, our skill as usual. As you can see, we have a lot of going on simultaneously. Big lean angle, smooth throttle control, rear brake, front brake, the handlebars should turn, our head should turn, and all that at the same time. And if something goes wrong, we end up on the floor with broken ego.
Wow. I feel me.
We have to practice all those parts separately, one by one. So let's do just that. Let's move to practice, step by step. First and foremost, be sure you wear full protective gear. Boots, gloves, knees, elbows, hips, shoulders and back. Everything should be protected. The possibility of meeting the pavement is not big here, but it is not zero either. So be sure you are protected. Your bike is better be protected too, with some kind of crash cage or frame slider. Or just do what I usually do. Steal a dirt bike from your nephew, slap a decent pair of road tires on it, and use it for training. This is a perfectly valid option too. Put two cones 12 meters or 40 feet apart. We'll make a big figure 8 around them. This way we'll practice both turns, left and right. Now just start doing huge turns. For now, no brakes, no clutch, no opening closing throttle, nothing. Just small even throttle all the way. And big figure 8 around the cones at constant speed. There are no space restrictions. You can make your figure 8 as big as you want. The only condition is that it must be a figure 8 around these two cones. Ride like this for a while, get used to it. After a while, start adding new elements to your riding, one by one. First of all, head and eyes. As usual, try to turn your head and look as far as you can. Next, start using countersteering to enter the turn more and more. The more force you apply at the countersteering, the faster your bike will flip. And your bike will lean more too. With big lean angles, even at constant speed, without anything else, you are going to have pretty fast U-turns already. But we still have a pretty big turning radius, so let's shrink it a little. Let's start to operate our throttle. As we are entering the U-turn, we are closing the throttle and getting the engine braking. So now we lose speed, which reduces our turning radius. And as we see the exit, we gradually open throttle, our bike accelerates and goes out of the turn. Here, on such lean angles, we need to be very smooth on the throttle, otherwise we go sliding. And one more very important thing is when we are going out of the turn and opening throttle, our bike starts to stand up gradually. There is a temptation to apply a countersteering to keep it from standing up, which will allow us to go a little faster. But since we are accelerating and our front wheel is unloaded, with additional countersteering we are risking to lose the front wheel and low side. This is one of the most frequent crashes on this exercise. So I personally recommend to keep the arms relaxed and let the bike to stand up. It's just a little slower, but less chance to slide. Now, as you are going through the exercise, you can find a little problem. You can feel that when you close the throttle and then start opening it, no matter how carefully you open it, despite all the effort, your bike still jerks a little bit, which certainly doesn't feel good at those lean angles. This we can remove by adding some rear brake to the mix. Now, when we close the throttle, we don't close it all the way. We leave just a little amount of throttle. Because of that, obviously, we lose a lot of engine braking. To compensate for that, we add a little bit of rear brake. We don't need much, just enough to remove the lack of engine braking. If your bike does this in the middle of the turn, it's too much rear brake. When you need to accelerate, you remove the rear brake and open the throttle. Obviously, the throttle and the brake we use very smoothly. After a while, U-turns should look somewhat like this, very smooth, no jerking. Put everything together with the lean angles and good vision technique, and you have very nice, fast and small U-turns. And now let's add the front brake. Despite what people often say, it's okay to use the front brake on lean angles. But of course, we have to use it carefully. We don't need a lot of force on front brake here. Pay close attention to the handlebar's behavior when you apply the front brake. When we use the front brake in the turn, our handlebars turn themselves inside. The more the lean angle, the more they want to turn. It's very important to not interrupt this. Keep your arms very loose and relaxed. Let the front wheel do what it should. By using the front brake slightly more in the middle of the turn, we can very quickly snap the handlebars and reduce the turning radius very fast. The only limit here will be the quality of tires and pavement. After a while, we should get pretty fast and snappy Japanese U-turns, like this.
Now, a very interesting question from Elscroft from past video. Sorry if I butchered your name. The question is closely related to today's video. What about delaying the head turn like Gymkhana Pro riders do?
Let me show what he means. If we look at top-level Japanese MotoGymkhana riders, we can see how they seemingly turn their head only after they turn. It seems absolutely wrong, yet those people are fast AF. Why? Is it a 1000-year-old samurai secret, which we, mere mortals, will never be able to comprehend?
Fortunately, no. The answer is actually rather simple.
On this channel we usually do exercises to improve some particular set of skills. Like today we are doing this figure eight to improve lean angles, fast counter steering, switching from closed to an open throttle, front brake mid-turn, etc. We work on skills. We don't really care if we go around the figure eight as fast as we can. Now, if we would care, we would do a couple of things differently. For example, we would pay much more attention to our line. Specifically, we would try to make our figure eight as short as possible, which in turn would force us to go as close to the cone as we possibly can, but without knocking it down. Because of this, in addition to finding the exit with our vision, now we have another important point, the apex. We have to specifically go through the particular point. It becomes a target for our vision. Let's see an example. As I approach the turn, I am looking for an entry point. Once I'm sure I'm going to hit it, I look for another point, where I go as close to the cone as I can without hitting it. Effectively, this point is an apex. And again, once I'm sure I hit it, now I look for the point where I want to open my throttle. If you look at my head, you'll notice how it looks pretty similar to those cool Gymkhana riders. It looks like I have some new delayed head turn technique. But really, I just added couple of points for my vision. That's the whole difference with what we are used to. Unfortunately, no ancient Japanese mysteries for today.
If you found this video useful, please put a like under it, hit the subscribe button and check out my new beginner rider video course. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye!